Okay, now that you can clearly see, Nate and Leanne Lundgren came and did my insulation, and they put it on the outside of my building. Why would you put it on the outside of the building, Ben? Now I want you to pay attention to that grid system because that's very important. Same with the header that's above that door, because that header right there and the framing around that door will never be seen again. And why I use this synthetic roofing felt underneath that all is because it's black on the back side of it. That black side of that felt is right here. You can see some sunlight kind of shining through it, but when the foam is against it, it's solid black. And if that wasn't there and they foamed it, all the insulation would ooze through the cracks of that, because that is the finished wall. I'm trying to protect the finished wall. That wall is never going to change from this point on. The header is on the other side of the wall, remember? You have 14 windows with the header that's on the inside of the wall. We got the posts between the windows. We got the king stud, the jack stud, no crippler. No crippler because notice it's a 2x4 on a 2x6 plate. I'm going to take barnwood and I'm going to wrap this to make it look like a timber. So when I do the wrap that comes out and around this, it will flush up with the bottom plate, and it will also end up being the crippler. When I'm doing all that, all the windows will be trimmed and look just like that one. Here, leaving all the studs exposed, this is the big beneficial part of all of this. That stack of studs right there, that one right there, that one right there, and the header don't ever get insulated. And you lose, if you take a thermal camera and you look at a thermal image, you lose heat through the framing members. So here's where those horizontal things come into play. That's where I nailed the sheeting after I sheet all this, but I can get insulation behind that, and I can get insulation over the top of that. I didn't do it on the sides of the dormers because it was just too much bullshit to put up with, and I didn't really think it was that beneficial to do it on that small of a space. But anyway, you get 3 inches of foam here. It covers that whole framing member I showed you on the corner. It covers it here, so everything is completely an R21 around the corner. It goes all the way to the window. So when I sheet this, when I put the window in, it's actually insulation on top of the king stud and the trimmer stud. Over here on this post between the windows, I've got 3 inches right there. So when I install the windows, I end up foaming around the window, which means there is foam going all the way to the glass, across all of that bullshit. Then when I go over and do this portion right here, that's 3 inches like that. So I get 3 inches on top of the header, 3 inches bridged across the double top plate, and then 3 inches going to the insulated roof. There is no air leaks between any one of those cracks, none of those cracks, and none of those cracks, and none of these cracks. So when this is all done and sided and everything, I'm going to take a thermal image camera and I'm going to show you the difference between what my building would look like in the heat loss versus a conventional home. Now you'll notice a little triangular spot on the bigger dormer where it's not insulated. I'm just taking a 3/4 inch foam board and I'm putting it right there. And the reason why it's not getting it on the outside is because of these stud cavities right here that are open. That's a 2x6, an actual 6-inch board. So I can actually net right there and I can insulate up this stud cavity. Now I did have him go ahead and insulate the stairway because this is the only portion of this silo that has to be insulated, because that's the only portion that is above unconditioned space. So this is above the roof line that's all right here. I had him do the metal grain bin roof there, and I had him do the knee wall. This ceiling is already insulated. That is finished. That's done. So a lot of what you see in here is completely finished, except I haven't wrapped the trusses yet with barnwood. And that stairway right there, inside and out, is going to be stuccoed, really sloppy stuccoed. I want it to look like a concrete silo. A concrete silo that I built a barn around. So now that you know that information about this barn and how it's insulated, and it's going to go viral when I'm done, I guarantee it's going to go very, very, very viral when I'm done, and people start passing this pictures around of this building. And there's going to be a ton of criticism saying the dude doesn't think he needs insulation, it's inefficient. They're just going to blow a bunch of shit out of their mouth hole. I know it because they've already done it to me before just with the ceiling. But now I've got exterior wall studs. Exterior wall studs that are going to be left bare. There's going to be 5 feet of snow outside. It's going to be 20 below. And people are going to be in here not freezing to death with no condensation falling off the ceiling because there's an R50 above that already. And then the funny thing about when people start to slander me over not having insulation in my barn is going to be more efficient than anybody's standard home. Another reason why I'm doing it the hard way, and trust me, this is 100% the hardest way you can do this shit, is because I want to keep it authentic. When people rent this place, I want them to feel like when they come up here that they feel like they just stepped into an actual barn that was kind of restored, but not restored and covered up studs and everything like that. I want to keep an authentic feeling like it was a restored barn, even though it's brand new construction.